This is the blessing the Lord, the man of God, pronounced on the Israelites before death. He said, The Lord came from Sinai and danced over them from Seir. He shone forth from Mount Paran. He came with myriads of holy ones from south and from his mountain slopes. Surely it is you who love the people, all the holy ones in your land. At your feet they will bow down, and from you receive instruction. The law of Moses gave us the possession of the assembly of Jacob. He was king over Jeshurun. Then, when the king of the people assembled along the tribes of Israel, let Reuben live and not die, nor his men be few. And this he said about Judah: O hear, O Lord, the cry of Judah. Bring him to his people. With his own hands he defends his cause. Oh, be his help against his foes. About Levi he said, Your Thummim and Urim belong to the man you favored. You tested him at Manasseh. You contended with him at the waters of Meribah. He said of his father and mother, I have no regard for them. He did not recognize his brothers or acknowledge his own children, but he watched over your word and guarded your covenant. He teaches your precepts to Jacob and your law to Israel. He offers incense before you, whole burnt offerings on your altar. Bless all his skills, O Lord. Be pleased with the work of his hands. Smite the loins of those who rise up against him. Strike his foes till they rise no more. About Benjamin he said, Let the beloved of the Lord rest secure in him, for he shields him all day long. And the one the Lord loves rests between his shoulders. About Joseph he said, May the Lord bless his land, with the precious dew from heaven above, and with the deep waters that lie below, and with the best the sun brings forth, and the finest the moon can yield, with the choicest gifts of the ancient mountains, and the fruitfulness of everlasting hills, with the best gifts of earth in its fullness, and the favor of him who dwelt in the burning bush. Let all the rest on the hand of Joseph, on the brow of the prince among his brothers. In majesty he is like a firstborn bull, with his horns are the horns of a wild ox. With them he will gore the nations, even those at the ends of the earth. Such are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and such are the thousands of Manasseh. About Zebulun he said, Rejoice, Zebulun, in your going out, you and Issachar in your tents. They will summon peoples to the mountains, and there offer sacrifices of righteousness. They will feast on the abundance of the sea, on the treasures hidden in the land. About Gad he said, Blessed be he who enlarges Gad's domain. Gad lives in there like a lion, tearing out arm or head. He chose the best land for himself. The leader's portion was kept for him. When the heads of the people assembled, he carried the Lord's righteous will and his judgments concerning Israel. About Dan he said, Dan is a lion's cub, springing out from Bashan. About Naphtali he said, Naphtali is abounding with favor of the Lord, and is full of his blessing, and he will inherit southward to the lake. About Asher he said, Blessed, the most blessed sons of Asher, let him be favored by his brothers, and let him bathe his feet in oil. The bolts of gates will be iron and bronze, and your strength will be equal your days. There is no one like the God of Jeshurun, who rides on the heavens to help you, on the clouds of his majesty. The eternal God is your refuge, and underneath are his everlasting arms. He will drive out your enemy before you, saying, Destroy him. So Israel will live in safety alone. Jacob's spring is secure, in a grain of a new wine, where your heavens drop dew. Blessed are you, O Israel. Who is like you? A people saved by the Lord. He is your shield and your helper, your glorious sword. Your enemies will cower before you, and you will trample down their high places. Then Moses climbed Mount Nebra from the plains of Moab to the top of Pisgah across from Jericho. There the Lord showed him the whole land from Gilead to Dan, all of Naphtali and the territory of Ephraim and Manasseh, in the land of Judah as far as the western sea, and Negev in the whole region of the valley of Jericho, the city of palms as far as Zoar. The Lord said to him, This is the land I promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob when I said, I will give it to your descendants. I will let you see it with your eyes, but you will not cross over into it. And Moses and the servant of the Lord died there in Moab, as the Lord had said. He buried him in Moab, in the valley opposite of Beth Peor. But to this day no one knows where his grave is. Moses was 120 years old when he died, yet his eyes were not weak, nor his strength gone. The Israelites grieved for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days until the time of weeping and mourning was over. Now Joshua the son of Nun was filled in the spirit of wisdom because Moses had laid his hands on him. So Israelites listened to him and did what the Lord commanded Moses. Since then there is no prophet has risen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face, whom did all those miraculous signs and wonders the Lord sent him to do in Egypt, to Pharaoh, to all his officials, and to the whole land. No one has ever shown mighty power or performed the awesome deeds Moses did in the sight of all Israel.